Fellow lads, the time is almost upon us. In just a few short months, we're going to be getting our first ever Marvel Studios Fantastic Four motion picture.
Fantastic Four! It's gonna be interesting because Fantastic Four First Steps is not the first Fantastic Four movie, but it's almost being treated like it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it is Marvel's first family returning to the studio, getting the chance to interact with beloved characters that we've all grown up with.
But all that to say, we're going to be diving deep.
Wow.
We're going to be taking a retrospective look at our first Fantastic Four movie, and that's Fantastic Four 2005.
I mean, it was one of the movies that every early 2000s superhero fan grew up with.
Absolutely. It was during like that golden age of superhero movies with all the X-Men movies, the Spider-Man movies.
When they're transitioning out of the 90s campiness.
Exactly.
We're going to be exploring all that this movie has to offer, but of course we want to hear from you. In question of the week, are you a fan of this movie?
Yeah, have you seen it? How do you like it? Where does it rank among your all-time Marvel movies or just superhero movies in general? And before we get into it, be sure to like the video. It really helps us out. It
really helps us out.
Be sure to like the video. It really, really helps us out.
And consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. Okay, so this movie, it's an interesting movie because it is not a perfect one. It is by no means fantastic.
It's not fantastic at all. But watching it again recently, there's a lot of charm to it.
It's weird because when I rewatched it recently, it brought me back to a time
A simpler time
where I didn't have hypercritical X-ray night vision goggles on.
That's very true, yeah. We weren't thinking about like 30 other movies tangentially relating to this one. You're like, which fucking variant is this? Like there was none of that. It was just like, let's just sit with this one movie, with this complete story.
And one thing that I think this movie does really well is in a lot of team movies, especially in, you know, as much as we love something recent like the Thunderbolts, it seems like those movies, sometimes team movies, can favor one character over the other.
For sure. But this one, they're all the main character.
Yeah, and they all, each of them have their own arc, their own growth that they go through. It totally captured that first family vibe.
It really,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it captured perfectly that family bickering that is so apparent in even the classic Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Fantastic Four books, where like 30% of the book is like superhero stuff and then 70% is just like family shenanigans, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, and like straight off the bat, you know, going through the story beats, I love how just in the opening after like the credits and all that, you see how strong of a friendship Ben Grimm
and Reed Richards
yeah, it's like even the shot where they pull back and they're outside of, you know, Doom Industries or whatever.
Like Doom Corp or whatever.
Yeah. They're kind of bouncing off each other like the same way me and you do. You know what I mean? You can tell that there's a long-standing history between them. It's also so funny starting off the movie how they're kind of like about to pitch to Victor Von Doom.
Like, hey, let's go to space.
Yeah, exactly. And Victor Von Doom is like in his fucking office already looking like a supervillain.
No, he's like sitting with his hand like over his head and half draped in shadow.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't forget, Reed, I'm banging your ex. And you're like, no.
That is one part that like immediately rewatching it I had forgotten.
Yeah, and I was like,
Sue Storm comes in and she's all like, oh my god, hi Ben, and he's all like, oh hi Susie, like,
come here, Susie.
Yeah. And then she just like goes over to Reed and it's just like look of disgust on her face. And then no, bro, and then Victor Von Doom like slides in next to her, like puts his arm around her.
Of course.
So fucking icky.
And I just want to get into that really quick because it's such a like stupid trope. As the movie progresses, we find out why Sue and Reed didn't work out.
Because they had been dating in the past.
They had, yeah. And like he was too into his work maybe, or like
classic Reed from the comics where he's such like a big brain, but he has like no emotional intelligence whatsoever.
Yes. But then they saddle Sue with this like stupid first draft Sue Storm idea that everyone has where it's like, oh, well, if like Reed's being whack, then she's just gonna immediately date the douchebag supervillain rich guy. And I'm like, that's not fucking Sue.
Although it is stated later on in the movie that they have not banged, Sue and Victor Von Doom.
That's really funny because he fucking proposes to her.
So what happens is they end up going to space. Victor Von Doom agrees to go on this like mission to like study
cosmic rays,
yeah, which puts his company at like a crossroads where it can either like boom or doom. I'm sorry. That was not intentional. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, and they also kind of just, like, rehash that, like, you're out, Norman fucking scene. It's the exact same thing.
So basically, this trip to space is gonna make or break his company. Yeah. And while they're up there, Victor Von Doom fucking pulls, like, planetary Riz and, like, opens up the view to see the Earth while he's with Sue Storm. And he's like, I want to take our partnership to the next level.
Orbital Riz.
Orbital Riz. And he fucking proposes.
And she's like, no.
So black.
Yeah, I know.
But while this is happening, poor motherfucker Ben Grimm, he's like dangling on a tether outside the space station doing like research.
Astronaut stuff.
Yeah, astronaut stuff.
And then we get the Fantastic Four origin.
But I will say they're hit with the rays and it cuts to black. And they have this great fake out scene where it's from the perspective of Ben.
Yeah.
And he like wakes up and
the camera's through Ben's POV. And he's like, well, what happened? And Johnny's like, Ben, I want you to know the surgeons tried everything they could. Like, we got you the best doctors. And he's like, well, give me a mirror. And then he just looks, and he's completely normal. He just looks like Ben Grimm. And Johnny's like, well, unfortunately, the doctors couldn't do anything to fix your face.
Yeah.
So
it's such like Nickelodeon mid-2000s writing.
It is, yeah.
But
it's great.
I kind of like it.
Me too.
So that's a great fake out, but we soon realize that something's not quite right here.
Everyone starts kind of like developing their powers.
Yeah, like there's a great snowboarding scene where Johnny like goes with a fucking nurse that he rizzed up to like
snowboarding
Riz. Snowboarding Riz. And he like catches fire mid-flight.
The song that plays too is just so fucking 2000s.
Dude, it's fucking frosted tips.
It's like, yeah. And then he becomes a fireball and like makes this huge crater in like the side of the ski mountain, and he makes a hot spring and he's naked, and then the nurse is like, fuck it,
yeah,
let's join. And you're like, this is the most
it's snowboarding Riz.
Snowboarding Riz. Can any snowboarders attest to like, is this a real like thing?
We both take up snowboarding.
So that's how Johnny gets his powers. And then Reed and Sue, they're having like one of their 47 arguments throughout the movie about like, oh, like Reed, you never like loved me.
Yeah, why their relationship failed.
And then he's like, Sue, I can't see you. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, just look at me, Reed. And he's like, I can't. You're invisible.
Which I do like in that moment because she's explaining to him how she always felt second to his work and how she felt invisible.
And how she didn't feel seen.
Yeah. And then she like knocks over a bottle and fucking Mr. Fantastic's goofy ass stretching CGI takes effect. He like catches it.
It looks so smooth.
I know.
You know?
And while that's happening, Ben is actually undergoing his transformation, which is kind of like a crazy like body horror scene.
It is, yeah. Well, at first you hear like his organs like turning into rocks. You hear like,
yeah,
they're at dinner and he's like, it's some bad shrimp. And he fucking becomes a rock.
I know. And he ends up running away from the facility that they're studying at.
And the subsequent scene with Ben,
yeah, it's tough.
It's so heartbreaking and infuriating.
He shows up at his girlfriend's house. Fiance, yeah. Oh, you know how we always said that we would love each other no matter what?
Yeah, remember when we said together forever? She's like, of course, baby, yes.
And it's an emotional scene because she comes out to see him, you know, and she's obviously horrified by his transformation. But it's also hilarious that this is like a New York City block and she's just out in the open in like her skimpy lingerie nightgown.
Yeah, and she's like, hey, come on out of there. And he comes out and he's clearly so mortified and embarrassed and terrified. And he just takes off his hat and she's like, oh, and just fucking leaves. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
At least say something to him.
And there is a second part to this relationship fallout, which comes about 10 minutes later. The thing is on the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's kind of soul searching, and there ends up being this whole team sequence where all of the Fantastic Four come together to like save a big
accident pileup thing from happening.
Yeah, and fucking Andrea, I don't know her name, but she's Andrea from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, she is. She is from The Walking Dead.
Ben's fiance shows up
after he's like saved the whole bridge.
Yeah.
And she just looks at him and like shakes her head and puts her fucking diamond ring on the ground. I'm like, good riddance, never fucking show up in this universe again.
Yeah, but it's even more emotional when the thing is trying to pick it up, but his fingers are too big. You know what I mean? And he's too clumsy.
But then Reed picks it up for him. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
That's what I mean. Like, as goofy as the movie can be, they have those emotional beats of friendship and family that really hit.
The emotional beats hit really hard. And then we start to get into like the fun team family stuff. The Ben scenes are sad, but some of them are also really funny, you know, and he's just like crushing like 60 oranges in his hands like to make some juice.
Yeah. I will say there is one part that I feel like they kind of miss between the family dynamic, and that's the fact that Johnny's a little bit too much of an asshole toward Ben. Yeah.
We don't see the loving side. We really only see like the bully. And sometimes it's kind of just like, what's your problem, man? I will say though, one of the funniest things ever is a Johnny line.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, I just have a feeling I know what.
It's just like Ben is just sitting like sullen and he's like so sad, and Johnny's next to him. He's just like, where are your ears?
Yeah. So and I love it too because in that moment he's actually not trying to fuck with him.
No, he's genuinely curious.
Yeah, it's like, dude, where are your ears?
So good.
And while the Fantastic Four are trying to figure out how to reverse their powers, and you know, Reed has an emotional scene with Ben on the bridge where he's like, I swear to you with every waking breath, I will try my best to fix you and reverse what's been done to us. Victor Von Doom is also transforming.
Yeah, which is like, it's so weak sauce, I find. It's just like, you know, let's just make him get powers too. And like in the comics, he wears a suit. So let's make him like become metal.
Yeah, it becomes like a new fictional comic metal that's like stronger than diamonds. It's kind of weird. And like you said earlier, he does go through like a Norman Osborn, Sam Raimi arc where like he's like, out am I? And he's like, you know, destroying all of the people on his board that were trying to vote him out.
Yeah, and then like his doctor's like, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but like it's not looking good. And he's like, okay, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there is a part that's very angry at Reed. At the end of the day, it was Victor that signed the deal to go into space, but he kind of blames Reed for the fact that everything's going tits up right now. And I like how he goes about it in a kind of strategic way. Like he almost manipulates the family dynamic and turns Ben against Reed.
Yeah, because Ben is the most easily manipulated one because he's so emotionally fragile.
And while Reed is kind of rekindling his relationship with Sue, Doom twists the narrative to make it seem like Reed is no longer looking for a cure, and Ben confronts him.
Ben has another line that, like, it's one of the most beautiful and tragic things I've ever heard in a superhero movie. Like you were saying, Doom kind of pits the family against each other, and it climaxes in like a huge fight between Reed and Ben, and Sue tries to break it up and, you know, be the mediator, and Ben says, you have no idea what I'd give to be invisible. And you're like, that's writing.
Yeah, they got it spot on.
They did.
Ben's characterization.
Yeah.
And there is a scene prior to that one where he goes to a bar and like everyone, you know, has that kind of shocked expression on their face when he walks in. And there is a really nice moment with the bartender, and the bartender's like, hey, show him some respect. This is the first guy from Brooklyn to go to space. This is Ben Grimm.
That's awesome,
you know?
man. And doesn't he meet Alicia at this bar?
Yes, because he takes a shot and like breaks in his hand, and she's like, oh, I'll pay for your drinks. And she like goes over to him and starts like caressing his rocks and stuff. It's like,
which ones? Yeah. He needed Alicia.
Yeah.
It's something that I wouldn't expect like a first Fantastic Four movie to do. And it was such a nice surprise.
But back to the relationship with the main four characters. It's very severely broken at this point. Johnny is just like looking at all of this through like a monetary lens, and he's really enjoying the spotlight. But also there's a scene between him and Sue where she's like, dude, none of these people out there like actually care about you.
Yeah.
Really solidifies what Johnny's arc is through the movie, because he starts out as such like a reckless like playboy, but ends up realizing that like none of those people are his actual family.
Yeah. And then we get like a big silly Doom fight at the end.
Doom tries to take out each of the Fantastic Four one by one, and he actually ends up curing Ben.
Crazy.
Yeah, to take him out of the picture.
Yeah.
We kind of get like a full circle moment where Ben's like, well, I have to become the thing to stop Doom.
And he puts himself back into the machine.
Yeah.
Good shit, man.
It's good shit.
It's good shit.
And he shows up to save the day, and he crashes through the wall. He goes, it's clobbering time.
Like,
yeah.
yes!
Yeah.
So sick.
And like you said, they do have a big fight at the end, and they're able to stop him.
And the way they stop him is we get Johnny doing his Nova Flame. Even though we've gotten so much turmoil and so much bickering between Ben and Johnny, when he's using his Nova Flame to finally save the day and like encase Doom in this tornado of fire, Ben is just like, flame on, kid.
Yeah.
So sick.
It is good. And even though Johnny's been like an asshole throughout the entire movie,
It's his little brother. You know?
yeah, you know that there's only love there at their core between the two of them.
Agreed.
And going from being supernova blasted to then having a current of cold water shot on him.
Makes Doom into like rock. What happens to lava when it's super cooled?
Yeah. So lame. It is goofy.
Yeah.
And the four of them are on a yacht at the end of the movie, celebrating their victory. It seems like Ben has accepted himself a little bit more now, and he's like with Alicia officially.
And Reed and Sue finally solidify their relationship.
He proposes, yeah.
At the end, yeah. And I'm really happy they cut out a specific part of that scene. Have you seen the deleted scene from when Reed proposes?
No.
There's a part where he's like, I always thought you wanted like the stronger man. In this deleted scene, he was gonna stretch his face to look like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine when he says that, with like really fucking bad scenes. I'm like, oh, thank God this wasn't in theaters.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, overall, this movie,
It's pretty solid.
it's underrated, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it is underrated. Like, the only real issues I have with it are, like, sometimes the dialogue can be a little cringy and, like, kind of ham-fisted. It starts in this movie, and then it gets even worse in the second movie, where, like, they cast Jessica Alba, so they're like, oh, she has to be naked whenever she's invisible, and I'm like, this is so fucking gross and weird.
There are a few moments like that that are a bit uncomfortable.
It's worse in Rise of the Silver Surfer, you'll see.
It's especially concerning because Jessica Alba said that working with the director and the cast, like, everyone treated her like crap.
That's gross too, because like on the one hand treating her like that, and then on the other hand, like, they fucking needed her to sell this movie, because like we talked about how there's no main character, but on every poster it's Jessica Alba in the front because she's the biggest name here. So it's like, how about you guys put some fucking respect on her name?
Overall, talking about the cast, everyone does a fucking banging job.
Yeah, no, they're all amazing. Like, just that one promo pic where they're all doing the four, I'm like, yeah, this is them.
Watching this movie made me realize that, like, superhero movies are supposed to just be fun.
There.
And it's not to be an excuse to, like, write off bad writing.
Yeah.
It was just a good time.
It was a really good time.
Yeah.
Nice, simple, fun time. It did the Fantastic Four justice.
Next up, we're going to be reviewing Rise of the Silver Surfer, so stay tuned for that.
Absolutely.
And then after that, Fan Four Stick.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at all the Fantastic Four movies leading up to Fantastic Four First Steps later this summer.
Guys, those are our thoughts on Fantastic Four 2005.
Leave a like on the video if you didn't already.
Subscribe, hit those notification bells. Don't miss out on our next Fantastic Four video coming sometime in the next couple weeks. And we love you.
We love you so, so much.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.